everyone, so I have a few different takeaways from the two major projects and just the class in general that I would like to share with you. Um, I think it's very important once you guys are placed into your different publishing groups to start communication early and often with one another. My group kind of did that when we first got placed together. We made a group chat and we started going back and forth, just kind of introducing ourselves, saying a little bit about what we like and things like that. It'll probably be different for you guys because of COVID, so you might not be able to get the in-person time meeting that we did when I went there, but I think it's very important for you guys to start texting, maybe FaceTime, Zoom calls, just get to know one another. That way, when you guys actually start your projects, you have a little bit of a background and you guys kind of know one another, know what your strengths are, and it'll make it easier for when those stressful deadlines start coming up. You guys can really communicate because you know each other a little bit better. That was super helpful with us. When we made our publishing group, I made my best friend in college doing that. So it can be very fun. You guys will have a great time. But overall, it was a really good experience. As I'm sure Dr. Bev mentioned, you guys are literal publishing teams. So this is a great experience for you guys to get a real world feel of what it would be like to have your own little indie publishing house. You learn not just about your teammates, but you learn a lot about what you are capable of, things about yourself that you may not have known before. And it's a really very rewarding experience if you put the time in. So that's my other major thing, is put in the work. I know that should go without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway, because I know how easy it is to put everything off to the last minute. I do that. I used to do that all the time. But you really, really want to put the work in early and often for these projects. I mentioned my anthology, Elle, and how proud of it I was, and how things started going badly, but we really worked together as a team to get it put together and make something that we were proud of. And I have actually brought that anthology to multiple job interviews. So these are good little tangible pieces of evidence of all the hard work that you do in college. When I interviewed at the Department of Natural Resources, I brought that anthology, and when they were asking, typical interview questions like, when did you work on a team, when did you overcome a conflict, I had that with me, and I had tangible proof of all these different times that I worked really well in a team, and I had all these different examples that I could give them right in my bag. And after I got the job and they were talking about my interview with me, this was months later, they mentioned that that was one of the major reasons they chose me out of all the other candidates, was because I had that piece of professional evidence on all the different types of work that I could accomplish. So you guys really want to put the work in to make something that you can all be proud of, so that you can use it for things like that. Even if you don't want to bring it to a job interview in the future, it's something that you can just point to and say, hey, I made a book. I made that book. So you really want to put the effort in to make sure that it's something that you're all going to look back on and be proud of. A major takeaway for the literary magazine, I would say, is don't get bogged down with trying to pick a narrow theme. My group spent a solid week and a half going back and forth debating on what we wanted our theme to be. And it ended up not even being that theme. So you want to have a theme when you're looking for submissions, but don't try and put yourself in a little pinhole to make sure that you follow it by the end. Because what's going to happen is you're going to come up with a theme, you're going to request submissions, and you're going to get a lot of submissions that may not fit exactly what you were looking for. And that's okay. You want as many quality pieces as you can get. So if your theme ends up being a little bit more broad than you would have liked, that's okay, as long as you have, the best quality pieces that you could find. We ended up being super proud of our literary magazine. even though it wasn't exactly what we set out to make. Going back to submissions, start looking for them early and start looking for them often. You want to go to every person that you can and ask them to submit something for your literary magazine. Ask your friends, ask your roommates' friends, message people in your classes. We put out flyers everywhere. You want as many submissions as possible, and it's easier to get more submissions the earlier you start looking. Because, people, after they see your theme and see that they could get published, they might want to write something for your story. So you want to make sure that you give them enough time to write a story so it can be submitted. So start looking early and start looking often. Other than the 2 major projects, I know Dr. Bev probably has you guys doing a presentation and has a bunch of other different guest speakers. And I want you to really take advantage of those guest speakers. Pay attention to what they're saying, take notes. I didn't realize how much I would miss that until I graduated. But I don't get to hear, different publishers come speak. I don't get to hear different professors. I don't get to hear about all these different opportunities. So I really wish that I would have paid more attention in my undergrad and really listened to what they had to say. Because, you don't get that when you're just in a boring office job. You get your office job, and that's it. So really, just take advantage of everything that's being offered to you. Again, I'm not sure what the format's going to look like because of COVID, but if you have recorded lectures, all that, watch them, listen to them, take notes. You'll miss it. Trust me. Yeah.